In today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 things you will hate about living in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I'm getting started right now. Hi there, I'm Greg Spackman, and I'm with the Living in Salt Lake City, Utah channel here on YouTube. So if you want to learn everything about what it's like to eat, sleep, live, play here in Salt Lake City, then please subscribe to this channel and click the little bell to be notified every time I do a new video. We are getting so many people that are reaching out to me that are wanting to know all about relocating here and moving to Salt Lake City, Utah. So if you're thinking about making a move, please reach out to us. You can reach us via text, via phone, via email, pigeon carrier, whatever it is, reach out to us. We got your back when you're moving here to the Salt Lake City area. So the 5 things that you're going to hate about moving to Utah. Number 1 is location. So why location is bad is that we are landlocked. And by landlocked, I mean we're surrounded by other states. So we don't have an ocean nearby. The nearest big city to us is 5 hours away, and that would be Boise, Idaho. And then after that, you can go to Las Vegas, and that's 5 to 6 hours away. And then from that, you can go to Denver, Colorado, and that's about 8 hours. And then if you want to go even further, you can get to Phoenix, Arizona in 10 hours. And then lastly, to Los Angeles in about 10 hours. So know that we don't really have any other big cities that are super close by. So Salt Lake City is what it is. Like this past summer, we were trying to get some furniture from IKEA, and they were constantly out of it here at our local IKEA. Sometimes they would have stuff in Vegas, but do you really want to drive 6 hours to get to Vegas to then drive back 6 hours and just to get some cheap IKEA furniture? So we ended up having to wait a while to be able to get it, where if we were closer to another large city, you know, other places will have another IKEA within a few hours drive at most. But know that there are some downfalls to being further away from large cities, but there are some pluses to it as well. Number 2 thing that you're going to hate about living in Salt Lake City, Utah is the weather. So it can be cold as crap in the winter. We're bitter cold, like down into the 10s and even into 0, and it just stays cold for days and days and days. Although they do have some winters where they're mild, but you can get, when it's cold, it feels like it needs to snow, but then no snow comes. Like this year, we got a little bit of snow in October, and then it's just been cold every single day until today. I think it's like 46 today. So for whatever reason, it's warming up for Thanksgiving. However, it's just cold. And so it's weird that it will be just cold and no snow. But then we've heard that you can get 48 inches of snow here. So you can go from cold and snow or warm, but know that the weather is funky. Then we have spring, which is a pretty average spring for what springtime's supposed to be like. It's warmer than winter, colder than summer. So spring here is usually a great time of year. Although there are years where the spring is really short and we have this thing called just summer all the time. However, we haven't seen it in our one spring that we've been here so far. So people, and then as far as the summer goes, it can be hot as hell in the summer, like over 100 degrees every day for multiple days in a row. Or it can be like 80s and 90s, like this year was a great summer. I think we had like 85, 90-ish for the weather for the whole summer. So it never got super, super hot except for maybe 2 or 3 days total this year. But last year it was really hot and miserable for the heat. So we do have a problem with water here. And you hear people complaining about us being in this mega drought and whatnot. But you still have plenty of water to wash your car, water your lawn, all of that. There's plenty of greenscape here that gets watered. So not really sure what they're talking about as far as the weather goes or the water. You will need to stock up on chapstick. That's my tip, and lotion. No one told us that it was going to get that dry, but your lips and your legs and arms will get dry. So you're going to need to be able to use chapstick and lotion. So I kind of joke to clients that they'll need to buy stock in those companies since they're going to be buying so much of it. The number 3 thing you're going to hate about moving to Utah is the air quality. So we have something called the inversion layer that lasts from November through April, where the warm air gets trapped by the cold air. So it creates some unhealthy air quality. You can definitely see it, like this clouding thing that's over the valley. And it kind of stays there till we get some good winds or some storm comes in and kind of takes care of that. However, you should be aware. So if air quality is something that might bother you, or you have asthma, just take note of that so that you can plan ahead accordingly for that. But air quality is number 3 on my list. Number 4 on the list is probably my thing that I hate most about living here in Utah, and that's the way that they name the streets and the drivers. So first I'll talk about the streets. They call them like 11,400, for instance, which means it's like 11,400 feet from a temple. That doesn't mean a lot to me which temple it is, since there's multiple of them. So it's just weird coming from where they would name it, Main Street, and you knew like much easier to remember streets based on a name or just something boulevard. But they'll be like 11,400 south by 400 west. And so it's a royal pain in the butt until you get used to it. The people that are from here seem to really like that. Maybe it made a lot more sense when there was, the one main temple. But then when you go further north, then it starts over again. And if you go further south, it starts over. So it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense of why they do the street naming that way. And then as far as the drivers go, drivers here are some of the worst that I've seen anywhere in the US. They drive super fast on the freeway. They make erratic lane changes. We saw this one guy cut over 4 lanes of traffic, then spin his car in a 360 and slam into a wall just because he missed his exit, where he should have just kept going to the next one and turned around. However, there's constantly accidents, and I think it's just because the drivers here are so bad at driving. And I don't know where they learned to drive, or if they've just moved from other states and we got the worst drivers from every other state moving here. But they seem to congregate here, and you're going to notice that we have some of the worst drivers that you can find. The only positive is that they will drive fast, but that's not really great when your safety is at risk. And then number 5 on my list is the state-run liquor stores, and the fact that alcohol can only be bought at the state-run liquor stores, other than beer you can buy at the grocery store and at the gas stations. But if you want anything else, you're going to the state-run liquor store. They're closed on Sunday. The hours they have are not all that great, but coming from somewhere else where you used to be able to buy it at the normal grocery store, or you just go to a regular liquor store, it seems like a big racket that everything is run by the state here for as far as liquor goes. Note that the driving limit here is 0.05, so Utah has probably the lowest number as far as that goes. I don't know how much that equates to you for drinking, but it's not very much before you're above the limit. So please make sure you've checked into that when you've come here and know what you can and can't drink. It's better just to grab an Uber or Lyft instead of driving here, because it's not worth it. And so that's my 5 things that you're going to hate about living in Utah. So if you're considering making a move here to Utah, please reach out to me. That's the only way I can help you. You can reach me via phone, via text, via email. I'm available nights and weekends, pretty much 24/7. Just shoot me a text and I'll get started on helping you relocate here to the Salt Lake City area.